Antarctica is the planet's most southern continent. It has the highest average elevation of all the continents and is the coldest, driest, and windiest. Yet, despite the harsh environment, scientists are hard at work in Antarctica, and many of the discoveries they have made are terrifying. Hello and welcome back to the Abandoned Archaeologist again, the channel to learn all about ancient archaeological findings. Today we'll discuss the discovery of Antarctica that suggests Antarctica is not what we think it is, but is entirely different. But before we begin, to get your attention, we have a question you can answer at the end of the video by watching it. Which is the highest peak in Antarctica? So write down your answers in the comment section and see if you got it right. Here we begin. Earlier, Russian scientists excavated the Antarctic lake. Russian scientists drilled into an Antarctic lake isolated from the rest of the world for approximately 15 million years. Sampling the waters of Lake Vostok may yield information about the evolution of life on Earth as well as previously unknown forms of life. According to the Russian newswire RIA Novosti, scientists from Russia's Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute in St. Petersburg drilled through the 3,768 meters of ice above Lake Vostok to reach the lake surface. Lake Vostok is the largest of hundreds of lakes hidden beneath the ice on the Antarctic continent. Russian scientists had planned to drill through the ice to the lake for several decades, but the scheme was only recently approved by the relevant international bodies. Scientists have discovered bacteria and other single-celled organisms that have evolved to survive in conditions where other life forms would struggle, such as darkness, extreme temperatures, or salinity. Lake Vostok may be a haven for extremophiles. According to scientists, you want to collect water samples to examine any such creatures, which will have lived in frigid waters for millions of years and evolved differently than the rest of life on Earth. Even though the Russian team made it through the ice of the approaching Antarctic autumn this week, it'll not be able to collect Vostok water samples until much later in the year once winter has passed. British researchers are also working on a project to drill into a subglacial lake in Antarctica. British Antarctic Survey researchers will use a hot water drill to drill through the ice cap of Lake Ellsworth on the western Arctic ice sheet. After drilling, there were speculations that scientists may have found new life under Antarctic ice. Russian researchers believe they have discovered new life forms sealed away for millions of years in a subglacial lake deep beneath the Antarctic ice. After more than a decade of intermittent drilling, Russia pierced Antarctica's frozen crust last year and returned samples of water from a vast lake that had lain untouched for at least 14 million years. Scientists believe that the icy darkness of Lake Vostok, beneath 12,139 feet of ice, may provide a glimpse of the planet before the Ice Age, as well as clues to life on other planets. Scientists from the United States and the United Kingdom are hot on Moscow's tail, looking for signs of life in one of the most extreme environments on the planet. A United States expedition reported seeing living cells under a microscope in field samples taken from the shallower subglacial Lake Willits. Still, more research is needed to determine what types of bacteria they are and how they live. A British effort to reach a third body, Lake Ellsworth, was halted due to drilling issues. However, what life is discovered in the icy depths may provide the best answer yet to the question of whether life can exist in the extreme conditions on Mars or Jupiter's moon Europa. The Russian discovery was made by analyzing water that froze on the end of the drill bit used to bore through the Vostok, the largest of a network of hundreds of lakes beneath the ice cap that acts as a blanket trapping the Earth's geothermal heat. Because of the technology used to avoid polluting the pristine lake, Russia will only obtain clean water samples for analysis later this year, uncontaminated by drilling fluid. To address concerns that kerosene and antifreeze from the borehole would seep into the lake, Russian engineers removed the drill, allowing the water to percolate up into the borehole and freeze there before returning this year to collect it. However, Poulot stated that the unknown microbes were discovered after separating out species of bacteria known to exist in drilling fluid. Frozen samples from deeper in the borehole were collected during the year's Antarctic summer season and transported back by boat to St. Petersburg. But on the other side, Russia also admitted that no new life form is found in Antarctica. Initial reports that Russian scientists had discovered a completely new type of bacteria in a mysterious subglacial lake in Antarctica were dismissed. According to Sergei Poulot of the Genetics Laboratory at the St. Petersburg Institute of Nuclear Physics, samples taken from the underground Lake Vostok in May 2012 contained bacteria that bore no resemblance to known types. However, the head of the same institute's genetics laboratory claimed that the strange life forms were nothing more than contaminants. Lake Vostok is Antarctica's largest subglacial lake, and scientists have long waited to study its ecosystem. So last year, the Russian team drilled nearly 4 kilometers to reach the lake and collect the samples. Russia had hoped to discover a new life form at the pristine site, and the drilling was critical to the country's science program's prestige. Latest discovery. As per the discovery, for centuries, explorers and treasure hunters have looked in vain for the legendary Lost White City, the home of a long-lost Central American civilization. Now, researchers from the United States and Honduras believe they have discovered the pre-Columbian settlement deep in the Honduran rainforest. An aerial survey in 2012 used ground-penetrating radar to peer beneath the jungle canopy to find the ruins of La Ciudad Blanca. When the archaeologists went into the rainforest to investigate, they discovered the ruins of a once-thriving metropolis, complete with plazas, earthworks, and possibly irrigation canals and reservoirs dating between AD 1000 and 1400. The cache of 52 pristine stone sculptures, partially buried at the base of an earthen pyramid, was one of the most exciting discoveries. Archaeologists know almost nothing about the culture that once thrived in the White City. They don't know what these ancient people were called or why they vanished. The city's name is thought to be derived from the area's white limestone rock and from ancient texts that described ivory temples filled with treasures. Western explorers first mentioned it in 1526, when Conquistador Hernando Cortez wrote the King Charles V of Spain. Theodore Mort, an adventurer, proposed in 1940 that the city was known as the White City of the Monkey God, and that an ancient civilization worshipped a giant simian deity, symbolized by a statue. The indigenous Pech and Pious groups live in the ancient Lost White City, which has long been mentioned. The first mention was in a document by Spanish Bishop Cristobal de Pedraza in 1544. The exact location of the settlement has not been revealed because the artifacts have yet to be excavated. This is clearly the most undisturbed rainforest in Central America, says Mark Plotkin, the expedition's ethnobotanist. The significance of this place cannot be overstated. A National Geographic team discovered the site in 2015, unearthing mounds of white rubble in the shape of a monkey's skull that experts believe are thousands of years old. What does this signify? Is there life in Antarctica? What do you think of these discoveries in Antarctica? Also, the answer to the question is, Mount Vinson Massif is the highest peak in Antarctica. Comment your views below and subscribe for more.